What's happening, guys? Happy Thursday and welcome to the fabulous Big Bet. My name is Memphis. You can follow me on Twitter at DWZ Memphis, and with me, as always, is my co-host.
I'm a killer. I'm the dirtiest player in the game. I know one thing: win at all costs.
Kyle, welcome to the show, man. How you doing tonight in New York City?
If I were to put one word on it, sweaty.
Really hot?
Yeah,
Is it hot there?
hot and humid today. I was on the bike. I was walking the dogs to the dog park, and we had this taste of the fall last week with some 65, low 70s, and then today smacked in the face with 87 and humid. But nonetheless, it's week 2, and we're in the swing of things.
I love the flow of the NFL season. You literally go from Monday night, you get a couple of days to digest, then bam, you're right back to Thursday night football. And then, you get a couple of days because I'm a big NFL guy. I let guys like Dallas Hyder from our rookie rundown show, a bunch of other guys that love college football, I let them chew all that up, consume all that, and then give it to me in bite-sized pieces called the Rookie Rundown. That's Dallas's podcast that drops on Mondays. That makes my life easy. Very consumable. Because on Saturdays, we're still doing baseball with my son. Nowadays, when I was a kid, you played baseball in the spring and you played football in the fall. Nowadays, it's like you're pretty much playing one sport. So I love that. And then tomorrow, we'll have Kyle here with the Fantasy Football Smackdown, getting us ready for the weekend. We might add in your piece, a little waiver wire show. You had that going on YouTube on Tuesday. Not too bad.
Feel free. Yeah.
Dude, you were fancy on the balcony, on the patio. Very fancy.
Thank you. Had to add that flavor.
I'll be honest, it might be the most Tony waiver. No, excuse me, it must be the most Tony, most dapper injury hit that you can find on YouTube. Dr. Kyle looking very fancy, sitting on the balcony there in NYC. Then look for our boys Tyler and Lou this weekend on the Daily Destroyer. YouTube. Now, some of these points, when you're not out gallivanting at brunch, you're going to have to come by Football Sunday School. Come get blessed from a football perspective. Last week, it was me and it was Jesse, the other Kyle from the Fantasy Football Smackdown, stopped by. Help people with a lot of different stuff, Kyle. Maybe this time you could stop by for like 30 minutes.
I'll stop by for 30 seconds.
You might bring your dogs.
Minutes.
You have 2 dogs?
I'll bring a dog or two.
You could bring a dog. It's dog friendly. The Fantasy Football Sunday School is dog friendly. So, man, let's jump into these big bets. Real quick, though, I do have a betting tip for you. Every week we're going to try to give you a little nugget to make you better betters. See what I did there? Better. Better. Bettors. See what I did there? Huh?
I'm laughing on the inside, man.
Are you? Good. Thank you for that. So I'll just tell you, a lot of people are doing more gambling content. A lot of people are quick to post winners on social media. Oh, got that one right. Oh, got that one right. Be real careful of those that never post their L's. Had a loser. Yep, went 7-5. Because here's the thing, Kyle, you know the answer. What do you have to hit if you're laying 110? What do you have to hit against the spread to be a profitable bettor?
Like 52%, 53%?
It's like 52.7%. That's exactly right. So be real careful of people who aren't showing the occasional loser. If you're just taking their advice and then they're just showing it after the fact, you have no idea what a degenerate they really are. And so Kyle and I, we're gonna be transparent. Kyle, let's recap last week. We'll start with our big bets. That was really our main downfall.
Let's go right through because we would be hypocrites of what you just said.
Yeah, we just want to cover real quick. So on my big bet, I did miss. I had New England -3, and I knew I was screwed the whole time.
Yeah.
They were down by 1. They were driving. I'm like, here comes the field goal. They win by 2. They're not going to cover anyway. So best case scenario, you get a jailbreak and maybe someone scores a touchdown, but that did not happen as Damian Harris put the ball on the ground. But I did have the under. But let's go about your big bet, man. You were probably on the same side as a lot of people because you had the Ravens laying 4 at the Raiders.
Yeah, and the Ravens over the past couple of years under Lamar and Harbaugh and whatnot, they've really beat up on teams when they're a favorite, and that's what I was going on. But I only watched the first half of the game. I'm an old man now, so I missed the second half. Something looks wrong with that team, I would say, relative to what we've seen in years past. Could be the injuries. I also think, Raiders could sneaky have one of the best home field advantages in the league.
Well, they got a club. They got a DJ. Yeah. They got bottle service.
And crazy fans.
And crazy fans. Let me ask you a question. Did you see that ESPN, it was the NFL on ESPN stat that I retweeted today?
I don't know.
That Jalen Hurts has more 300-yard passing games in 5 career starts than Lamar Jackson does in his career. You know that mind blown emoji? That was me when I read that. I was like, holy cow. Yeah. Then I was listening to a football podcast, not fantasy or gambling, but just like a football recap show. And they were using, more advanced, like, I don't want to say next-gen stats, but, high-end, more analytical metrics. And it was like Lamar Jackson's regressing as a passer. He's not progressing. He's regressing. So I found that to be interesting.
Positive regression, as the statisticians say.
Yeah. You know what we call positive regression? That's progression. It's just calling it negative regression. That's just you trying to church it up. So we'll get back to your bets. We both missed on our big bet, but you went 4-4 on total bets on your actual likes. We consider those bets. Yep. You were correct on the Jets plus 5.5. The hook saved you. You were over on the Vikings Bengals. What a weird game that was. Broncos minus the deuce. And then you missed on the Packers. Man, did they look rough.
Holy smokes. Yeah, that one, I don't know. I got nothing there other than, I got nothing.
What is, and then you had the football team plus 1.
Yeah.
They lost outright. And then you had the over 52.5 on the Cardinals Titans.
Yeah.
Now I got to be honest. The Cardinals did their part. And we'll get into this in just a second about what you learned in week 1. Then real quick on me, on my bets, I had the teaser, I had the Rams, and I had the Niners both teased down. So both teams would have covered the spread. One thing I'll tell you, I heard this on another gambling pod, is you notice those games went from 6.5, 7, and the Cowboys game was like this as well, and they shot up to 9. Do you know why the books did those? That was teaser protection. Yeah, they were trying to push it out of those key numbers of 7 and 7.5, which I found to be interesting. They must have had so much teaser action. It was just so much easier to just offer a bigger number with some modified juice. So, but I did have the teaser correct. I was over in the over in the Texans Jaguars game. I had the under in the Seahawks Colts. Again, the Colts did their part to make sure that under hit. So for me, I went 3-1. I'm not going to recap all of our leans on your leans. You went 5-2. Yep. I went 4-4. So if you want to go cumulative across the weekend, Dr. Kyle was 9-6. That's profitable. I was 7-5. Profitable. So overall, we had a positive. We were above 500 weekend. We could currently, with that number of bets, Dr. Kyle and I could make a living as a professional gambler. But that's just the recap. So, but what did you learn before we start jumping into some of this week's big bets and what we got going on in week 2? What was your big takeaways?
Aside from the fact that Vic Fangio got his first victory in the month of September.
Oh, Vicky Fangio.
I'm just kidding.
Gotta watch him.
Memphis and I have fun on here. We have fun on Twitter where we'll just give each other shit because we don't care about feelings. And we both want to be right. And we want you to be right and to make money. That's not what I learned, though. I'm constantly replaying like this in my head. But the NFL is it's a small sample size of small sample sizes. And it just makes it so frustrating. It's, and we'll get into it when we talk about this week's games, but it's so close. Every week, they're all so close, and there's just so many moving parts and pieces. We got home field advantage back this year, I think. That's it for me.
For me, I'm not freaking out about the teams that had games against really good defenses. Like, I'm not freaking out about the Chargers or the football team. Both those defenses are really good. I'm really, I'm on the border of the New York Giants because Denver's defense is really, really good. And early in the season, defenses always tend to be a little bit ahead. You mentioned the return of crowd noise. So I almost feel like a lot of people, like if you read the quasi sharps on Twitter, it feels like they learned everything. I feel like this week is like a medical instrument or a precision instrument. Like I've got to get it recalibrated and tuned just right before I start making some of these picks. I'm looking for some historical data,
Right.
a lot going on. So before we get into the picks, I do want to let everybody know about my balls. And you know who else is a big fan of freshly manicured nuts there, Dr. Kyle? It's another doctor.
AC/DC and their big balls?
Well, no, it's another doctor.
Ritualistically shaved my testicles. There really is nothing like a shorn scrotum. It's breathtaking. I suggest you try it.
You heard him. I suggest you try it. Like Dr. Kyle over there in the humidity of the NYC, swamp nuts, swamp ass, just going sideways. If he'd cleaned his shit up with some manscaping, he'd be okay right now. He'd be okay if he had went to manscaped.com. He'd use promo code ZONE. He would have got it shipped to New York City for free, and he would have saved 20%. It would have been easy, Dr. Kyle. I mean, you're too busy thinking about the retirement of Calvin Johnson.
I want Greg Chirac or Chirac.
G.
I like
We
Chirac.
just call him G.
Chirac. Week 1 thoughts on Lamar as a passer. It's funny. I was talking about somebody, one of my patients at work today. Like watching Lamar play as a quarterback, he doesn't look comfortable in the pocket. He looks like he's tap dancing, moving around, and like it's like, do I run? Do I throw? Do I run? Do I throw? And then it's like this quick, like unnatural. Look, I'm not a film guy, but he doesn't look like any other quarterback. Like he doesn't. I don't know. It just he didn't look comfortable in the pocket, and he was unsure of what he was going to do most of the time.
Well, but before I get to G's question about Lamar and his passing, I want to finish talking about my balls, or your balls, over at manscaped.com. Head over to Manscaped, use promo code ZONE, take care of that Troy Polamalu in your pants, and save 20%. Promo code ZONE, free shipping. So there you go, manscaped.com. So for me, again, I'm a baseball guy. I love football. It's my passion. But I am coaching my son in baseball, so I've got my finger on the trigger of baseball as well. And with all things with baseball, they talk about a pitcher, and it's like, do you have another pitch? Once they figure out your fastball, what do you have next? And that's what I don't feel what Lamar Jackson has really done. I will say this, again, tip of the cap, I am not 100% sold on Jalen Hurts as a quarterback or as a full-time starter in the NFL. But I really feel like the Jalen Hurts that I saw to start this season brought something new to the table that he didn't last year. And I watched Lamar Jackson. He still can't push the ball to the outside of the field. He really can't. And, he does a great job of extending plays, allows his wide receivers to get open. I'm sure it will look a little bit better when Rashad Bateman gets back. But he had Sammy Watkins. He had Marquise Brown. He had Mark Andrews. There are concerns. I have not seen progression. And again, football people are using analytics and metrics to point out the fact that he is not progressing. He's either right at the same as he's been the last year and a half, or he's tapering down. That's a concern. And I think that's part of the reason why you've not seen his extension done. I mean, he's got an MVP. Does Josh Allen have an MVP? I mean, there's not much difference, but Josh Allen got paid. So anyway, I'm not going to make this the Lamar Jackson passing show. We covered a lot of that on the Dynasty Warzone this week. Let's get into the big bet. So we're going to change this up just a little bit. We went back and listened to last week's show. If we don't have anything on a game, we're not going to dwell on a game, and we're not going to go line shopping for you. You can use thelines.com. Dr. Kyle, how sexy was it when I sent you that screenshot of my gambling apps that I have on my phone? As an Indiana resident where sports betting's legal.
To quote myself, quoting somebody else who used this one time, I was hard as a faucet.
Dude, I'm telling you, I have 16 legal outs on my phone. And I was using that on Football Sunday School, on the live show this week. I realized very quickly that if you're into player props, it really feels like Barstool has the best number and the best juice on player props. If you're into like unders, it felt like Caesars had a lot of good numbers on unders. So just make sure you shop it around. And again, I will continue to say this. If you like an under today, you might go ahead and get down on it because, again, you're always going to have the advantage of a COVID outbreak. If a QB especially gets COVID, I mean, that's going to drive the under down by anywhere from 4 to 6 points. Could be 8 if it's a Patrick Mahomes level quarterback. So those are just a couple of things that we picked up. Let's jump into Thursday night's game, Dr. Kyle. Let's jump into the G-Men heading to our nation's capital to play the football team. And when they rename these sumbitches, please keep the football team. The Admirals, the Presidents, the Red Hog, just stop it. Knock it off. Football team's fine.
Yeah, we've all finally got used to football.
And it's cool.
It is. It's like
it's
Europe
old
and their
school.
football clubs or soccer leagues.
For me, it's not even that. Think about those old school heather gray T-shirts that just said "property of." I mean, is that like not a big seller? You get like a heather gray T-shirt with some burgundy screen printing on there that says "property of the Washington football team." That really cool, font they use for the W. Get out of here. But anyway, we have the football team hosting the Giants. The football team laying 3.5 at home. Over under 40.5. And all these lines are per DraftKings. We're just going to use DraftKings lines. You do your own shopping. You're an adult. I don't tell you when to save money at Target versus Walmart versus wherever. You shop where you find the best value, and I'll do the same. So, Dr. Kyle, what do you think of laying 3.5 and total of 40.5?
Yeah, not touching this game. I don't think we know most of the picture of either of these teams, especially with Washington changing quarterbacks right now. If I had to pick a side, I don't know. I probably lean Washington, but like I don't like it. I'm happy to move on to the next one. As soon as you are, tread lightly.
I got really not a lot here. If I was going to go anyway, I think I would lean to the under. We just saw a really explosive offense with the LA Chargers in Washington, and they think they put up like 17, 20. I think those two teams scored 17. And the Giants, for all their offensive woes, they're not a horrible defense. Their offense put their defense in a bad spot on Sunday with some turnovers. So for me, I would lean toward the under, but I feel like because of the potentials for turnovers for both teams with Heineke and with Daniel Jones, with them both being more mobile, I could see like a strip sack, I could see a fumble, some interceptions leading to some short fields, and all of a sudden you get backdoored on the over. I'm not in for that. Nope. All right, next game. The Saints are at the Panthers. The Panthers are getting 3.5 at home, total of 44.5. Thoughts?
And part of this maybe ties into what maybe I learned last week. Don't underestimate Sean Payton. I think that guy is a top 2 or 3 coach in the NFL. I just think he's a game planner. He plays to his strengths, his team strengths. He can hide weaknesses. The Panthers barely, depending on what line you got, we got the Jets at 5.5 last week. They couldn't even cover against that Jets team who had, their offensive line is atrocious and now banged up, and their defense wasn't anything. I don't know. Like, it was definitely a revenge game for Sam Darnold. I just think Sean Payton will be able to, on the defensive side, game plan something a little bit more complex to maybe get Sam Darnold seeing some ghosts in Carolina, some Carolina ghost peppers. But yeah, no, I'm a lean Saints.
Was that a Carolina Reaper? Was that a Carolina Reaper? Take there. I thought my jokes were bad. Here's the thing. I'm not going to go as far, but I think this is going to be the battle of Alvin Kamara versus Christian McCaffrey in a check down battle. I really do. When you just look at the raw score and you just see that the New Orleans Saints boat raced the Packers, and you're like, wow, the Packers were in the NFC Championship game last week. But I look at some of this stuff that the Robert Saleh defense, his last few years in the NFC West with the 49ers, they stymied some really good teams. They held the Cardinals in check a few times. They held the Rams in check. They did well against Seattle in some slugfests. That Robert Saleh defense is pretty tough. Now, he doesn't have the personnel to make it as tough as it normally is. And Sam Darnold had an okay day. And then all we think about is Jameis Winston and 5 touchdowns. But, he only threw 20 passes all day. His touchdown rate currently is 25%. 25% of his passes have turned into a touchdown. Is that repeatable? Is the New Orleans defense better than the Jets defense? I think it probably is. But this is a team that had like a 9-win total seasonal win number. So I'm not ready to go hog wild because that tells me that Vegas thinks you give them, 2.5 for the home field advantage. That Vegas thinks that the Saints are 6 to 6.5 points better than the Panthers. I don't think they are. I'm going to lean Saints with the better coach. But if Carolina were to win this game outright in a whole bunch of different ways, so I'm just going to lean Saints and move on. All right, next game, you have a lean here. We have the Bengals coming off of their upset victory of the Minnesota Vikings. They're heading to Chi-Town. Yes, they're going to face Andy Dalton. Yes, you can save your tweets about Justin Fields better. Yes, we've all heard it before. Yes, we know he's better. And no, Matt Nagy, as the recording of this podcast, does not give a shit that he's better. He's playing the Red Rocket. He's playing the dog wiener. So what do you got here? You got the Bengals at the Bears. You got the Bears laying 2 at home. So they think the Bears. Well, they actually think the Bengals. Am I getting that correct? The Bears would be laying 3.5. Yeah, I think the Bengals.
What do you call in home field? 2 or 2.5?
I'm just gonna stick with 3 until I see
Yeah,
proven data that. So if if home field is worth 3 and the Bears are laying 2, they think the Bengals are 1 point better than the Bears. At least with Andy Dalton under center. Thoughts? Yeah. Over under of 44.5. By the way.
Right now, I lean the over. We saw that Bengals Vikings game. Granted, it went into OT, but it was at 48 going into OT. And I know the Bears defense has been feared in the past, but I don't think the Bears defense is what it was. So I see this game probably going similarly to how the Bengals Vikings game went last week, where it's just, a little bit back and forth. I think both teams will be able to move the ball downfield on each other's defenses. And, therefore 44.5, we just got to touch 24-21 to get over the top of that. And that feels very doable with, very meh defenses.
I think it'll be. I have nothing on the game. I think it'll be real close to this. I think it's a field goal game, and I think 44.5 feels right. You just said the magic number, like 24-21, in kind of an ugly game. You're kind of hoping that one of the defenses forces like a fumble, like a turnover score to help get this one even close. So I don't have anything on this one. Neither one of us have anything on the next game. It's the Texans at the Browns. The Browns laying 12.5. I know they're going to be.
It's so tempting.
No, it's not. I'm not laying 12.5.
No. I'm saying taking the 12.5 is very tempting. Yeah, it's very tempting. But
I would agree.
Yeah.
Veterans who know how to play in the NFL. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like one of those you may kick my ass, but you're not going to destroy me, type thing. So
I think I heard one of the football heads almost compare the Houston Texans to like the Vegas Knights hockey franchise. Like they're sort of just like they're not a new team, obviously, but they're a lot of new players playing together. But they've all been playing for like they're all veterans who've been playing for a handful of years. Who Tyrod Taylor, like serviceable quarterback who can protect the ball, like running backs who have carried the lion's share all at points in their career, and a bunch of like number 2 wide receivers. I don't know. It's funny. Like it could be a really cool story to see if the Texans win, 6. If the Texans win like 7 games this year with Watson just standing on the sideline the whole time, that would be very impressive.
All right, I got nothing. I got nothing on that game. All right, this next one's for you because you have a like on this, first like of the pod.
Oh God, I like.
We have the LA Rams coming to my neighborhood, coming to Indianapolis to give my Colts plus 3.5. What are your thoughts?
I like the Rams laying the 3.5. I think I was burned a little bit last week trying to take road favorites. I guess the underdogs were great last week. I think it's going to come back to earth this week. Stafford looked every bit of confident and comfortable, and you could see how happy this Rams team is to play around him. You could see how happy McVay is to have Stafford as a quarterback. I'm going to ride that Rams wave. I think the Rams I think right now are probably a top 4 or 5 team in the league right now until I see something otherwise. they're healthy on defense. Ramsey and Donald are healthy. I think the Colts, without a true look, if the Colts offense had like one true playmaker wide receiver that like just rose above the rest, I think they'd be right there with a lot of other teams. But until then, it's, they have a bunch of pretty good wide receivers and Jonathan Taylor. So I feel like I'm going to need to see more out of them before I can trust them in their offense. So Rams laying 3.5.
Yeah, I have a lean to the Rams as well. I just have conflicting data points with Frank Reich as the head coach of Indy. Frank Reich against the spread, against the NFC in his career since 2018 is 9-3-1 against the spread against the NFC. I mean, they swept the NFC North last year, including the Packers. So, that gives me pause. They play pretty well on the team. They lost last year in week 1 to the Jags. Not a big deal, but here is the one that is the conflicting data point that really that really stuck with me, I guess. As a home underdog, Frank Reich is 0-4 against the spread. So I've got one data point that against the NFC he does real well. Against the being a home underdog, he's 0-4. So I'm just going to lean to the Rams. I just don't see how the Colts defense, even if they get Xavier Rhodes back, can really slow this team down. That offense, because it's kind of like one of those. You just pick your poison.
Yeah.
Do you want it to be Tyler Higbee? Do you want it to be Cooper Kupp? Do you want it to be Van Jefferson? Do you want it to be Robert Woods? Pick your battle. And the Colts have a good defense, but they don't have that good of a defense. So for me, I'm going to lean Colts. Just based on some conflicting data points. All right, next game, the Broncos are going to the Jaguars. Back-to-back road games for the Broncos, by the way. Vic Fangio got his first September win in 2 years as a head coach. The Broncos are laying 6 on the road and a total of 45. What are your thoughts? Because you didn't really have much.
Yeah, I don't have much, but I'll let you take it from here. I don't think Urban Meyer is it. It's just 6 points at home against the Broncos, who probably aren't going to be boat racing teams this year. It feels like a lot, but I'll hand that information over to you to tell us what you like about this game.
Well, I'm going to mix two games together, so I'm just going to tell you for right now that I'm going to tease this team down with another game. So I'm going to tease this down from 6 to even, to basically a pick 'em, and I'm going to pick the Broncos. I'm not going hog wild and laying almost a tutty with a guy with a head coach who just won his first game in September ever. I like the fact that Teddy Bridgewater looked good. I also would lean, I'm going to make it a separate bet, but I am going to lean. I'm actually going to put a like. I'm going to say this. I'm going to like this game. No, I'm not. I'm not going to put that on the record. I'm going to lean. If you're looking at the total, I'm going to go under 45 points. I think Urban Meyer has gotten enough shit in the media this week that he's going to get back to basics and not have Trevor Lawrence throw the ball 51 times. Probably going to put some more rushes on Carlos Hyde and James Robinson. I think the Broncos will see that the Texans are able to have Phillip Lindsay and really Mark Ingram run wild on this team, and really you'll see a lot of Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. So I think this will be a fast-moving game, a lot of rushing, and I see the Broncos winning the game outright. Not so comfortable that I am going to go enough to go a full bet on the under, but I do like it. But that's going to be one leg of a teaser. So I will save that to complete the teaser here in 2 picks. Anything to add?
A little tease of the teaser.
A little tease of the teaser. All right. Next game, Bills on the road at the Fins. Bills laying 3.5. That hook scares me, and the total is 48.5.
Not touching it, but how about the Dolphins having to play division rivals in the first 2 weeks of the season? That's rough. But if they can squeak a win against the Bills, that's huge for them. But yeah,
that would put them in the catbird seat.
Yeah,
the fabled.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the Dolphins get trounced by the Bills at the end of last season. Granted, it was in Buffalo. I don't think we saw what the Bills really are last week, and I didn't see what I think the Dolphins really are against Belichick in New England. So I want more information on these teams before I trust either of them.
couple of really good young head coaches, defensive minded. I think I would look at that under as well. I think some of that under is inflated by the last time these two teams played. I think the Bills are going to come out on fire, but I still believe Brian Flores is a very good defensive minded head coach. So I would lean Bills if I could get it at 3. It's currently at 3.5. If it was 3.0, I would lean Bills, but right now I have nothing on that game. All right, this next game, we have the Patriots at the Jets. The Patriots, when I wrote the show sheet, were laying 6. Now it's 5.5. I'll go ahead and complete the other half of my teaser. When I wrote the show sheet, I was going to tease the Patriots down to a pick 'em. I had, but I'll go ahead and take the full 6, and I know it's a waste of a half a point, but I'm going to tease the Patriots to plus a half a point. So I guess if for some reason they were to have a tie, that would be just enough insulation that I could get this teaser through. But I'm going to tease the Patriots down to plus a half a point, the Broncos down to a pick 'em, and really this is just some numbers on Bill Belichick. Uncle Bill, since 2003, because that's as far as the database that I was using goes back, Bill Belichick against the spread coming off of a loss since 2003 is 46-23. That's 66.7% against the spread coming off a loss. As a road favorite, he's 61-46-1. So he's 57% as a road favorite. Against a rookie QB, which Mr. Wilson is, he's 21-6 straight up against rookie QBs. And I think this line would be a lot higher than 6 had the Patriots not fumbled the ball and scored. I think it'd be closer to 7.5.
Yeah.
And I'd still be teasing it, but I like it a lot better. So give me Bill Belichick. Give me the angry, pissed off Patriots against a rookie QB. I'm getting Patriots plus a half a point teased with the Broncos in a pick 'em over the Jaguars. That's my best bet. I know you saw it and you loved it.
Yeah. I've already placed it myself on my bookie because that's all I got here in New York. But yeah, I like Pats -6. So the tease for both of them was great. Like you already said, Belichick coming off a loss against a rookie quarterback. That Jets O-line looked bad, and it only got worse with Mekhi Becton going down with what I saw as a dislocated kneecap, which if you saw my injury week 1 wrap pod or YouTube video the other day, like I talked about that. I'm going to talk about those non-skill position injuries every week, just because this information is important for fantasy, but it's probably more important for betting. I'm not scared of the Pats going into the Meadowlands. I think if anything, the Meadowlands could turn on the Jets if that thing gets ugly quickly. So yeah, Pats -6 is a like for me.
All right, well, I'm going to give you a break for just a second. I want to ask you about fashion. What do you know about them Hate Brand Good goat shorts? Because I know you're a fan. I know you rock. I had the T-shirt on the other day. It's a laundry day. I've got to get some Hate Brand tees washed. But you're a big fan. You like the 5 and 6 inch inseam.
I need a Hate Brand dresser, Memphis. My wife and
I've seen your collection.
Laundry away earlier, and I'm like stuffing my goat shorts in there. I'm running out, and I'm hooked.
I'll be honest. That's really what I primarily get is the goat shorts. I have some T-shirts. I do have one pair of the premium joggers. But it's all great stuff. And if you have women in your life, like me and Dr. Kyle do, get your misses. They have women's leggings. They have women's, I guess you call them like CrossFit booty shorts. Mm-hmm. They're all there. It's hatebrand.com. If you're watching us live on the stream, I have switched the banner so you could see the correct spelling of both the promo code, which is Memphis, and the Hate Brand website. It's also hyperlinked if you're listening to the podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast, you can just hit pause, go into the show notes, tap on the Hate Brand Goods link. It'll take you right there. 2 taps. Tap on the notes, tap on the link. You're cruising around the website, and you're helping the show, and you're helping me and Dr. Kyle. You're keeping Dr. Kyle in goat shorts. Don't you want him to look good? Get those milk cream white legs out in the sun. Do it for your boy. Let him look good. Use promo code Memphis, and get you some goat shorts. Get you a tee. Get you some joggers. Get some joggers, Dr. Kyle.
I'll work on it.
Work on the joggers. All right, we're gonna get back into the big bets. All right, 49ers. Now they stayed on the East Coast. They did this the last 2 years. They are staying at the Greenbrier, which is in West Virginia. It's an old, fancy, highfalutin. My wife and I were going to stay there over our fall vacation, but it
Wow.
was like dude. They had like suit jackets, like in the casino after like 8 p.m. I'm like, what the? This is
Y'all pass.
2021.
So let me wear
Get
my
out of here.
tuxedo T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, the tuxedo says the tuxedo part says that like I want to be formal, but the T-shirt says I'm here to party, and so it was more stuffy than I was going to be. But they're staying at the Greenbrier. They stayed on the East Coast after beating the Lions. They are laying 3.5 to the Eagles, who beat down the Atlanta Falcons. The total in the game 49.5.
I asked for
This is
50
where
cars,
you
not
you give us
49 and a half.
hashtag analysis.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got hung up on Gone in 60 Seconds quote there.
Okay.
I don't like 3.5, but I see that it's already moved to 3 on DraftKings. So if you like the 49ers, hunt around for 2.5. Those are key numbers. We're not going to see the line move just for fun between 2.5 and 3.5. But the fact that it moved from 3.5 to 3 over the past
Three
8
lay
hours,
what? Three lay what?
110.
So I will bet that as soon as I get to a stopping point with the end of the
Yeah.
pod, because here's the thing. I have given a tip of the cap to Mr. Jalen Hurts. I think they looked real well, but I think they beat up on one of the low key worst teams in the NFL.
Agreed.
The Falcons looked like trash in the preseason. They came out and looked like trash with a new head coach. I think you're going to see San Francisco starting to sharpen those tools. First game, new defensive coordinator. First game in a long time for Bosa. They're getting the band back together on defense. And again, I've said this before. If Jalen Hurts, but at 3, I will make that a like. I will move that to the like column. If I can get the Niners -3, I'm in. I think there's a lot of public sentiment in that we just saw the other birds beat down the Falcons, and we're very hype on Jalen Hurts and very hype on Devonta Smith, and they could be great. But I have a team that 2 years ago went to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to take in what I know to be the better coach. If you had to have one football coach a game for your life, you take a Nick Sirianni or Shanahan.
Well, are we playing football or are we playing rock, paper, scissors?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! This is a football podcast, pal.
Okay,
So
all right.
I'm going to take Kyle. I'm going to take the better coach on the road, experienced in these overnight trips, if you will. And again, I think I'm getting the better coach and the better end of the number. I hated the hook. But if I can get it sans the hook, I'm going to move it to Memphis likes the Niners -3. Anything else before we move on to the Raiders at the Steelers?
No, you touched on everything for me there, too.
I don't love giving away the half point, and I don't have anything on this game. But if you wanted to tease the Steelers, because they're at 5.5 too, like the Patriots are now,
Yeah.
if you wanted to use that as a teaser leg with either the Broncos or the Bills, I don't hate it. I know pros would tell you that it's not the best usage of your 6 points, and they're not going to tease through 0. But if I'm just basically picking the Steelers to win the game at that point,
Yeah, and I think that's the right
because if
take
they
on
win
this.
like 24-27 or 27-30 like that game was on Monday night,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't trust the Raiders going from the West Coast to the East Coast. But just if you wanted to hedge, I'm not laying the full 5.5.
No, I'm with you. I think the Steelers are the better team. I don't know what the Steelers offense brings to this game yet, and that's like the biggest question mark. Give me Tomlin over Gruden. Give me the Steelers defense over the Raiders defense. But 5.5, that's a big number to lay. So I think I'm with you. I'm not touching it. I got no likes or leans on this one. But if you wanted to tease it, I'm on board with that.
All right, so this next one we have a bit of a crossfire. Here's what Dr. Kyle and I will be using. No, I got a better one.
Are you mocking me? Are you mocking me? Stop it, you just didn't do it again. He's trying to copy me.
So we have a bit of a crossfire. We have the Vikings at the Cardinals. The Cardinals laying 3.5 at home, over under 51. Now you like the Cardinals minus the 3.5. I like Minnesota plus the 3.5. We defer to you first and go.
I'm gonna ride the Kyler Murray and this rocket fuel offense hype train until it comes to a screeching halt. Oh my God, what did I just say? Remix.
I don't know, but it wasn't any kind of like of a language that I've ever heard. You sure you're a doctor? Can I see your degree, please?
The Cardinals are at home, so
Right.
it's basically saying they're a pick'em. What did the Vikings do last week against the Bengals to prove that they get to be talked about in the same category as the Cardinals? If you want to say maybe, and I don't even think it's true anymore, but if you want to say, all right, you're going to take Mike Zimmer over Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach, I'm cool with that. But the Vikings, Mike Zimmer is not the cover god that he was, 3 years ago. He stunk it up last year. He's probably one of the hottest seats, and his defense couldn't really do much to stifle the Bengals. Joe Burrow coming off his major surgery. I think Kyler Murray looked great the other day, and they have so many wide receivers. They've got two very serviceable running backs, and one thing that they didn't have last year that they brought to the table. Granted, was I don't know what we'll talk about Tennessee's offense at some point, but their defense, their pass rush looked great against the Titans. So if this Cardinals D has improved significantly from last year, I think they're going to give the other teams in the NFC West and more of a run for their money than we're expecting at this point. And I just don't see Minnesota hanging with them.
Very well could be, but I look at it this way. I get the better head coach. And I do believe that the Minnesota offense can hang with the Arizona offense. I've seen Kirk Cousins put up too many 28s, 35s. And this is a 4 o'clock game. It's in a dome, so, good weather. I'm not worried about that. I mean, it's September. There's going to be good weather most everywhere. But your dog clearly agrees with me. And I look at it this way. Cliff Kingsbury as a home favorite is 2-5 against the spread. 2-5 against the spread as a home favorite. But my man, Mr. Zimmer, coming off of a loss, 31-15 against the spread. So when he loses, he comes back. He's 31-15 against the spread. He's 8-4 against the spread as an underdog, and 5-3 as a road dog. So for me, I'm getting the better coach. I'm getting a better coach in line with the number. If it was just a 3 or a 2.5, I don't take it. But I think even if Arizona wins, it's going to be a field goal game. I'm on the right side of the hook. So for me, I'm taking Minnesota. If you remember from last year, this is an auto $20 bet between me and Dr. Kyle. That's okay. I'm +1 for last year, so we're just going to roll it over in this year.
Money, aren't you, Memphis?
That's right. I'm going to shoot your own money back at you.
I hope so.
All right. Well, here we go. We're going to roll on to the next game. We are going to talk the Falcons heading to the Buccaneers. Getting 12. The Birds are getting 12 from the Bucs. Total of 52. I got nothing. If I had to lean anyway, I would probably lean the over. I think the Buccaneers may get their offense on track a little bit, but seeing what a good but not great Philly defense did to this offense, I'm not in a huge hurry to see what a good, if not maybe great defense in the Buccaneers can do to them. For me, it's a pass on both the side and the total.
Yeah, 12 is too big for me to like either side, and the total feels right. And at some point, I think Arthur Smith is going to get this offense moving a little bit, and if it's this week, I don't want to be a part of it.
I could see them having some success against the air. We saw what the Cowboys wide receivers were able to do to this secondary. I know the one guy dislocated an elbow. I'm pretty sure Murphy Bunting or whatever. Yeah. He's going to be out. So maybe
law firm at
the law firm of something Bunton Murphy, and so I'm with you. Not a bunch there. You have a lean on this next game. Chargers at the Cowboys. I'm sorry, Cowboys at the Chargers. Chargers laying 3.5. 55. Biggest total on the board. Thoughts?
How many 3s and 3.5s have we seen and talked about this week? This is a good football week,
and it's still 3.5 fresh.
Yeah, and I lean the Chargers. The Cowboys were pretty opportunistic last week against the Bucs in getting some turnovers and still handed that game to the Bucs. Granted, one thing I'm nervous about is the Cowboys do have the long rest, but I do believe this Chargers offense is probably better than it was last year, and they now have a defensive-minded coach, and I think we saw that's already paying dividends in how they performed against Washington in Washington last week. So Chargers at home, you're basically saying that if it's 3 points for home field, Chargers are only half a point better than the Cowboys.
Well, I don't give the Chargers a full 3 points. I think that stadium might be 40% Cowboys fans. Largest brand in
the
sports.
Buck Stadium sounded like it was 40% Cowboys.
That's
fans.
what I'm saying, man. So for me,
All right.
if I could get it at 3, I think I might go Chargers. I think I really like the under. And I know that sounds counterintuitive to what we just saw. But I think that Chargers defense is a lot better than we think. The Cowboys are going to be without Gallup. Not that he's their wide receiver 1.
Cowboys are also going to be without Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence on defense.
How do they generate a pass rush? There's just too. I have more questions than answers on this game. So for me, it's a pass. You're leaning toward the Chargers minus a 3.5, not an official
and
bet.
if it squeaks to 3, the Cowboys are a public team. Granted, they got some stuff going against them in the news right now, but if it squeaks to 3, I'm smashing Chargers.
So for if it goes to 3, Dr. Kyle said
Smash.
he's going to smash it. So this next game, we have a dual like. We got to find some kind of we're in agreement, like we're best friends or some kind of a drop for when we're in agreement. We have the Titans heading to the Seahawks. Seahawks laying 5 at home, total of 54. Now, if I had more confidence in the Titans offense under Todd Downing, I'd probably lean to the over. I just don't. I really don't. And I just saw what the Seahawks did to the Colts. And here's the thing. What do you think the Seattle stadium is going to sound like with the first full stadium since COVID? What do you think 12, the only fan base that has a retired jersey number in the NFL, what do you think that stadium is going to sound like when they get rocking? It's going to be a mess.
Yep.
And what does Seattle have to be able to help kind of control the same thing that the Cardinals had? They had, good linebackers, good front 7 play that can slow Derrick Henry down. For me, 5 is a good number because I do like the peekaboo. Like I try to write down the lines before I actually go look at them. Yeah. And I guess this one right here would be 6.5, 7. And when I saw it was 5, I'm like,
smash.
I'm gonna smash that -5. What were your thoughts?
You nailed it all. I don't trust the Titans offense, especially if the Seahawks get up early. Like Derrick Henry is a non-factor, and then they're just gonna take to the air. But
how would you beat if you were laying out the game plan? If you were Sean Waldron and you were Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson and you were in those offensive meetings, how would you go about attacking this Tennessee Titans, defense?
Air it out.
You would air it out. You would stretch them thin because the Colts have a decent secondary, but their secondary is a hell of a lot better than the Titans. And we just saw DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and all the weapons, Gerald Everett. Everybody had a nice little day against the Colts. And I think the Colts got a better pass rush than the Titans. I don't know how they disrupt Russ. I don't know how they keep up. And how do you slow down Tennessee? You slow down Derrick Henry. And I got news for you. I watched it a little bit. I don't think Julio looks good. I know, he's still Julio. He's still he does not look right. And let me ask you a question. How many outside of Randy Moss, but it was the Raiders, so I do have that one caveat. How many other wide receivers like that do you just see, kind of given away? I mean, I guess DeAndre Hopkins also went for a second, but it was like a second and a fourth, and David Johnson and a contract.
But he was also coming off of a 1,300-yard season, and he's not even close to 30 yet at that point even. Yeah, I
don't think he's 30 now. I think he's 29, going to be 30. And Julio Jones hasn't played 70% of a team's offensive snaps in years. I don't know. I watched the game. He just didn't look good. I mean, it's purely the eyeball test, which we try to back it up with data. But just watching that game, watching the all 22 he just didn't look good. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not a pro scout. And I don't pretend to be. So just the brief eyeball test. I can't get behind this Tennessee offense, and I can't get behind Todd Downing. Give me the Hawks. I'll lay the 5 on the road.
Yeah, let's tag team that one.
All right. So you have a lean on the next game. You have the Chiefs on the road at the Ravens. The Chiefs. What a difference a year makes. Last year, this game, the Ravens were giving up 3.5 at home. Now it's a full touchdown swing as the Chiefs are giving up 3.5 on the road at Baltimore.
Yeah, and for me, it's what I talked about in the recap of the Ravens-Raiders earlier. I don't think Lamar Jackson looks like a quarterback at this point. They also just lost their left guard. Their patchwork at running back, which you talk about like where Christian McCaffrey is like he's a running back that's worth a full point when it comes to the lines. Like if Christian McCaffrey gets injured tomorrow, that line could move a point. So and generally, okay, did it move from Dobbins to Gus Edwards? Did it move from Gus Edwards to Justin Hill? And it's minuscule, but we saw instances on Monday night where Tyson Williams, I believe his name, like a little bit of a botched handoff with the RPO or the zone read and lack of blitz pickup, and those are key things, especially now as the weapons dwindle in Baltimore and the offensive line is it's not what it was 9 days ago, let alone last year. I think I'm getting the better coach in Andy Reid. I know I'm getting the better quarterback and the better offensive weapons in Kansas City. And the Ravens are not built to play from behind. They're not built to play from behind. And so if the Chiefs get out in front, I think they're going to run away with it. That's why I like the Chiefs at 3.5 laying it.
I'll monitor the money, but if the Chiefs get down to 3, I might put something on it. But right now, I got nothing. I think the Chiefs are the Ravens' kryptonite because the Ravens can get ahead of the Chiefs and the Chiefs can come back. Yeah. Remember, the Chiefs erased a 24-point deficit against the Texans a few years ago in the AFC Championship game. But if the Chiefs get up 17 or 24 on the Ravens, it's done. Just go to bed early because unless you need the fantasy points, you can just go to bed. So for me, if it was 3, I'd lean Chiefs. Final game, Lions heading to the Packers, getting 11.5. You like the over, you like over 48. Tell me about it.
And this is going to be my big bet, Memphis. I think this total reflects a combination of the Lions' inability to score last year and the Packers' inability to score last week. I think this week is going to be the Aaron Rodgers Packers offense coming out party against the Lions defense that could not do anything to stop the 49ers last week. And the 49ers put up a lot of points in the first half and early in the third quarter and then let off the gas both on offense and defense. And, the Lions, DeAndre Swifted and Jamal Williams, their ways back. So I'm going to capture this total because I think this total might move up over the next few days just with what the Lions were able to do on offense last week and what I think the Packers are going to be able to do this week.
All right, I'm going to do a quick spot check of the weather because you know what? The more I think about it, what's always a good bet? A good team that's well coached with a good quarterback that just got embarrassed. I want to ride that team. I don't want to ride them so much that I want to lay 11.5 points. But I'm looking at Monday night. It should be a high of 84, low of 63. That's ideal weather. I think Green Bay is going to want to come out. And if Green Bay puts up a 35 burger, and that's not huge. If they put up 35, 38 points, you only need Green Bay at that point to put up Detroit. 10 to 13 points to cash.
Yeah.
And, for whatever we think about that Lions team and head coach, I think that team can score. I think the offensive line.
I think they've got coaches they want to play for. They like that team.
They had no quit in them.
I'm a Dan Campbell fan.
I am too. I think it's an act. I don't think you spend 5 or 6 years under the tutelage of a Sean Payton. Yeah, you can play the role of the tough guy knucklehead, but I think he digs it there, and I think his team plays hard for him. So, you know what? I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go over. It's not a big bet for me. It's just a single bet, but I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go over. That'll give me 5 bets. You have 5 bets. Let's recap yours, then I'll recap mine, and then we'll get out of here. You have the Rams minus 3.5.
Yep.
You have the Pats minus 6. You have the Cards minus 3.5. You have the Seahawks minus 5, and you're over 48 Packers Lions. I get that correct? Okay, perfect. So mine, I have 5 as well. I have the 2-team teaser. I have the Broncos moved from laying 6 down to pick 'em, teased down to pick 'em. I have the Patriots teased down from minus 5.5 to plus 0.5 point. So that's one bet. I have the 49ers at laying 3 to the Eagles. I have Minnesota plus 3.5 in Dr. Kyle and I's Crossfire. And then I also have the Seahawks and the over in the Lions Packers. So there you go. We have two common games, two bets that we like. We have a crossfire and a teaser. I think we're on a good track here.
Which one's your big bet, Memphis?
The teaser was my big
right,
bet.
right.
The teaser, yeah, for sure. That's my that's going to be my big bet of the weekend.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to try to get back on the wagon on Sunday during the Sunday shit show, the football, Sunday school show, because I went 3-4 last week. Not great. I mean, if I went over on Baker touchdowns, over 1.5, and if I just told you retrospectively that the Browns are going to score 29, do you think I get there?
Yep.
It was just, I knew I was in for a long day when Jarvis Landry rushed one in. I'm like, that's exactly how this is going to go. But I tell you what, man, this is going good. I'm excited. We're profitable after a week. Let's see here. Let me switch this spreadsheet real quick. You are plus 3 units on the year. I am plus 2. So collectively we're plus 5. We're doing okay. Dude, week 1's tough.
Oh yeah.
I don't think week 2's done us any real favors.
No,
week
one was tough because we had very little information. Week 2 is now tough because all the spreads are 3.5.
Yeah, and 3.5 spreads are really tough, but you make this easy. The spreads are tough. Your co-hosting's easy. That man's name is Dr. Kyle Bowser. You can follow him on Twitter at DWZ_DrPT. Don't forget to support our sponsors, Manscaped, where you can get 20% off and free shipping by using the code ZONE. You can save money at checkout at Hate Brand Goods by using the promo code Memphis. And you can get a hold of us by going to Gmail. It's dynastywarzone@gmail.com. You can follow me at DWZ Memphis. And remember, until next time, money won is twice as sweet as money earned. Dr. Kyle, have a good week, buddy.
You, Memphis.